An investigation has found 3 times the normal level of bacteria in a burger from a Korean branch of McDonald's.
You walk into McDonald's thinking you're making a quick, easy food decision. Just grab a burger, maybe some fries, and get on with your life. But here's the thing. Every decision you make in that restaurant has already been made for you. You think you are the customer, but really you are the target. The golden arches are not just a logo, they are a trap. And buddy, you just walked into it. Let's start with the simple stuff. You know how McDonald's always seems to smell amazing, like a cloud of crispy fries and meat dreams? That is not a coincidence. It is a strategy. The vents that shoot out that delicious aroma are perfectly placed to hit your nose right as you walk in the door. They have literally weaponized potatoes. You are not craving fries. You are inhaling engineered marketing. But do not feel bad. It works on everyone. Studies have shown that smell is the fastest way to trigger memory and emotion. So when that fry-scented air hits your face, your brain is like, hey, remember your childhood? Ball pits? Happy meals? That one time you got a toy you actually liked? And boom, you are in line, wallet in hand, before your rational brain even wakes up. Now let us talk about those Happy Meals. They are like tiny edible bribes wrapped in nostalgia. You do not go there for the food. You go because your inner child still thinks that maybe, just maybe, this time the toy will be awesome. But here's the secret McDonald's does not tell you. They do not care about the toy. They care that you are imprinting your kids with the idea that fast food equals happiness. That little plastic minion is not a gift. It is a hook. And once it is in for life. You are not just buying a $4 meal. You are investing in a future adult who instinctively turns into the drive-through lane at every emotional crossroads. And then there is the menu. Ever notice how the cheapest items are always the hardest to find? Like you have to squint into some forgotten corner of the board, like you are trying to read ancient cave drawings. That is on purpose. The stuff they make the most money on, big, bold, and lit up like the Vegas Strip. Those value meals, they should be called margin meals. Because the only real value is going straight into McDonald's bank account. Last week I did a little experiment. I ordered everything separately instead of getting the combo. Saved myself $3.65. That is not a life-changing amount of money, but it is enough to make you wonder how many people are overspending every single day without even realizing it. Multiply that by the 69 million customers McDonald's serves daily. And now we are talking about hundreds of millions in hidden profit. Now let us get into the really weird stuff, the food itself. You know how a homemade burger starts to turn into a science experiment after about 3 days? Gets that weird gray-green film and smells like regret? Not a McDonald's burger. I once found one under my car seat after 2 weeks. Still looked like it was ready for its close-up. No mold, no smell. Just burger. That is not food. That is a prop. Real food rots. It changes color. It breaks down because that is what nature does. But not McDonald's. Their burgers have the shelf life of a library book, and the reason is not magic. It is science. Or more specifically, chemicals, preservatives, additives, flavor enhancers with names that sound like rejected Marvel villains. A standard homemade burger has about 5 ingredients. McDonald's burgers? Try 70. 70. That is not a sandwich. That is a chemistry project. The meat alone gets treated like it is heading into battle. Ammonia-cleaned trimmings, flavor injections, and let us not forget everyone's favorite horror story, pink slime, which, yes, is a real thing. They just do not call it that, because mechanically separated meat slurry does not test well in focus groups. And it is not just the burgers, those perfectly golden fries. They go through more steps than a Broadway dancer before they even hit the oil. Blanched, dried, fried, frozen, and fried again. Then they are salted like McDonald's is trying to preserve your arteries for future generations. A single medium fry has enough sodium to make a doctor start filling out your chart in advance. And yet we keep going back. Why? Because it is convenient. Because it is fast. Because it tastes good. But mostly, because McDonald's has spent billions making sure you do not ask too many questions. You think those eggs in your breakfast sandwich are fresh? Think again. They are cracked in a factory 3 weeks before you eat them, then frozen, shipped, and reheated into those suspiciously perfect circles. Real eggs do not come in discs. Real eggs do not require ingredient labels longer than your resume. But at McDonald's, breakfast is not a meal. It is a system. And the system is designed to make you think you are eating food, when really, you are just consuming edible architecture held together by science and nostalgia. Want to know something really ridiculous? McNuggets come in exactly 4 shapes. Not 5, not 6. 4. The ball, the bell, the boot, and the bow tie. That is not an accident. That is branding. They want every bite to feel familiar, predictable, and safe, even if the ingredients list reads like the back of a bottle of shampoo. And speaking of ingredients, there is one called dimethylsiloxane in the McNuggets. That is the same thing they use in silly putty. McDonald's says it is just to prevent oil from foaming. I say, maybe if your food is foaming, we should all take a step back and reevaluate our decisions. But here is where it gets wild. The chicken in the chicken nuggets? That is only about half of what you are eating. The rest is sugar, starch, leavening agents, and flavor stabilizers. It is like someone looked at a chicken and thought, this needs everything but chicken. A food scientist once told me that if you ran a blind taste test between McNuggets and sponges soaked in salty broth, most people would not know the difference. Why? Because what we are tasting is not food. It is a combination of salt, sugar, and emotional manipulation. But that is the genius of McDonald's. They have taken processed efficiency and turned it into flavor. They have taken marketing psychology and turned it into appetite. They have taken the word meal and stretched it so far, it might as well snap. And just when you think it cannot get any more surreal, we get to the salads. You think you are making a healthy choice? That Southwest salad with crispy chicken and dressing has over 700 calories. That is more than a Big Mac. It is like going to the gym and ordering a triple chocolate shake as your reward. But McDonald's knows exactly what they are doing. They put healthy options on the menu not to make you healthy, but to make you feel better about choosing McDonald's. It is like putting a yoga mat in a bar and calling it a fitness center. So let us say you are that person who orders the salad. You sit down, feeling smug, like you crack the code. Everyone else is diving into their burgers and you have got greens. You are winning at life. But then you check the nutrition facts and realize you have just consumed the calorie equivalent of a double cheeseburger with fries. And the worst part, you are still hungry. That is because those salads are dressed up literally to trick your brain. They load them with crispy chicken, high-fat dressing, tortilla strips, and sugary sauces that have more ingredients than a department store receipt. You are not eating a salad. You are eating a disguised burrito without the satisfaction. My friend Sarah tried eating only McDonald's salads for a month. She thought it would help her drop weight. Instead, the only thing that got lighter was her bank account. 30 days later, no weight loss, no health gains, just a sense of betrayal and the haunting memory of ranch dressing that tastes like regret. Even the apples are suspect. You know, those little apple slices they give in Happy Meals to make it seem like they care about kids' health? They are peeled, sliced, and then soaked in a preservative solution to stop them from browning. McDonald's took the one fruit that comes with its own biodegradable wrapper and found a way to process the soul out of it. You ever notice how their apples do not smell like apples? That is because you are not really eating fruit. You are eating corporate interpretation of fruit. It is like the uncanny valley of snacks. It looks like food. It acts like food. But deep down, it is just a science experiment with a barcode. let us talk about the drinks. Oh, the drinks. You think the food is where they get you? Number. The real money is in the soda fountain. You pay $2.50 for a large drink that costs McDonald's about 10 cents to make. That is not a markup. That is robbery with a straw. And those cup sizes? They have been quietly inflated over the years. What used to be a large is now a medium. What used to be a small barely qualifies as a shot glass. They just changed the labels and hoped nobody would notice. It is portion distortion, and it is working. The soda itself is a sugar bomb disguised as refreshment. A large Coca-Cola from McDonald's has over 70 grams of sugar. That is like drinking a melted candy bar with every meal. And let us not even get started on the healthy options like juice and smoothies. The orange juice has more sugar than a glazed donut. The smoothies have more sugar than the cereal aisle at a grocery store. And of course, there is the infamous McFlurry, a treat so unreliable it might as well be your emotionally unavailable ex. You never know when you are going to get one. The machine is always down, which is McDonald's code for this thing is too complicated for anyone here to fix. There are actual apps to track which McDonald's locations have working ice cream machines. Think about that for a second. Someone built an entire tech startup because getting dessert at McDonald's is like winning the lottery. And it is not that the machines are broken. It is that they are so sensitive, cleaning them is like performing surgery. And only one specific technician from the company that makes the machine can fix it. Guess who gets paid every time that call happens? Ding, ding, ding. The machine maker. The whole thing has gotten so absurd, it has sparked lawsuits. Franchise owners are suing because they are losing money. Customers are suing because they cannot get a frozen treat. And all the while, the ice cream machine sits there, blinking its 20 mysterious error codes like some kind of evil vending robot from the future. Meanwhile, there is one thing that is always available: the fries. The glorious, golden, chemically preserved fries. A museum in Iceland still has a McDonald's meal from 2009. That meal includes a small burger and a portion of fries. The fries look exactly the same as the day they were bought. No mold, no rot. Just perfectly preserved deep-fried artifacts. They get dusted like ancient treasures. Because apparently, they kind of are. Those fries have survived longer than some marriages. And you have to ask yourself, if bacteria will not touch them, why are we so eager to put them in our mouths? A scientist once told me the reason McDonald's fries do not rot is because of how much they are processed. They are fried, frozen, shipped, fried again, and then blasted with salt and preservatives that suck out all the moisture. Moisture is what mold needs to grow. No moisture, no mold. No mold, no natural decay. No decay, no reason to believe you are eating anything remotely natural. But the most mind-bending part? McDonald's does not need to be this way. They have the money, the infrastructure, and the global reach to make real food. They could serve burgers made from grass-fed beef, fries with 3 ingredients, salads that actually resemble salads. But they do not. Why? Because real food spoils. Real food has a shelf life. Real food costs money. And McDonald's is not in the food business. They are in the system business. Their entire empire is based on uniformity. Every bite must taste the same whether you are in New York, Tokyo, or Cape Town. That level of consistency requires chemistry, not cooking. It is not about nourishment. It is about predictability. You ever notice how your stomach feels weird after eating there? Like you are full but not satisfied? That is by design. The meals are engineered to hit every bliss point, salt, sugar, fat, but leave you craving more an hour later. It is the food equivalent of scrolling on your phone for hours and realizing you have seen nothing meaningful but still cannot stop. One time, my friend Tom gave up McDonald's for a month. Just 30 days. No fries, no burgers, no drive-through stops. At first, he said it felt like breaking up with a manipulative ex. His car still turned into the parking lot on autopilot. But after the first week, things started changing. His wallet got thicker. His energy came back. His skin stopped looking like it was preserved in fryer grease. His blood pressure dropped so dramatically his doctor called to make sure the numbers were real. He lost 11 pounds. No gym, no diets. Just the simple act of not putting chemically engineered nostalgia into his face 3 times a week. By the end of the month, he said he felt like he had escaped something. Like he had been in a fog and did not even know it. He did not swear off McDonald's forever. He still goes sometimes. But now it is a choice, not a reflex. And that, my friends, is the difference. Now, here is the part they really do not want you to think about. The addiction. Yes, I said it. Addiction. Because what McDonald's has managed to do is something your local drug dealer would envy. They have turned food into a habit, and not just any habit. A convenient, affordable, socially accepted one that no one questions. Because, hey, it is just lunch, right? Wrong. This is not just lunch. This is science-backed, habit-forming, engineered craving. Every flavor, every crunch, every perfectly timed ad campaign is designed to hijack your brain. You ever notice how you feel sluggish an hour after eating McDonald's, but still get a craving the next day? That is not just hunger. That is your brain going through withdrawal. Fast food cravings hit the same part of the brain as nicotine and sugar. Dopamine gets released. You feel good for a minute. Then it fades. Then you go back for more. That is not an accident. That is a formula, a literal formula cooked up in flavor labs with people in white coats who spend their days figuring out how to make a chicken sandwich feel like therapy. And then there is the advertising. You know those happy jingles and commercials full of laughing families and golden sunsets? That is not just marketing. That is emotional warfare. They are not selling food. They are selling comfort, nostalgia, togetherness. They are selling you the idea that McDonald's is not just a restaurant, it is a feeling. But real feelings do not come with drive-through windows and ketchup packets. Real feelings do not leave you bloated and $30 poorer. McDonald's wants to be the place you celebrate birthdays, recover from breakups, and reward your kids. They want to be woven into your life so tightly that you do not even question it anymore. And let us talk about time. Because McDonald's figured out that speed is king. Not quality, not nutrition, not value. Speed. The faster you can get in and out, the less time you have to second guess your choice. That drive-through line, that is not just convenience. That is a psychological funnel. You are locked in. You are committed. You are not going to reverse out of there and head home to cook broccoli. You are going to order the combo and move on with your day. And even the inside of the restaurant is part of the plan. You ever notice how uncomfortable those seats are? Not quite painful, but definitely not lounge-worthy. That is by design. They do not want you staying too long. The color scheme, the music, even the lighting, it is all subtly pushing you to eat fast, leave fast, and come back soon. McDonald's is not a dining experience. It is a production line. You are not a guest. You are a unit of throughput. From the moment you see that sign glowing in the distance to the second you crumple your receipt and drive away, you are part of a system. And the system only works if you do not question it. Now here is the wild part. McDonald's has done such a good job branding themselves as normal, we forget how weird it all actually is. Where else can you get a full meal for under $10 that includes meat, bread, fries, and dessert, all served in under 5 minutes by teenagers using touchscreen registers? That is not normal. That is dystopian efficiency dressed up as lunch. The truth is, we have been conditioned. From those childhood happy meals to those late-night Nugget runs, McDonald's has inserted itself into every phase of our lives. It is the default option, the safe bet, the autopilot answer to hunger. And it is everywhere. Airports, highways, schools, hospitals, even Walmart. You literally cannot run errands without McDonald's whispering sweet fried nothings in your ear. And the scariest part? The system works so well that most people never even question it. They do not read the ingredients, they do not check the calories, they do not ask why the burger looks like it was printed on a 3D meat printer. They just eat. And that is exactly what McDonald's wants. Because questions slow things down. Questions lead to change. And change, that costs money. So they keep the menu colorful, the fries salty, the slogans cheerful, and the conversation shallow. You're not supposed to ask where the meat comes from or why the eggs look like vinyl coasters. You're just supposed to enjoy your meal and get on with your day. But let us flip this around for a second. Let us say you do start asking questions. You start making changes. Maybe you skip the drive-thru once or twice a week. Maybe you start cooking at home. Maybe you read labels and realize that crispy is just a euphemism for bathed in oil and sadness. It is not about quitting McDonald's forever. It is about breaking the spell. About seeing the golden arches not as a symbol of comfort, but as a giant neon suggestion you are allowed to decline. And once you do that, everything changes. You start noticing how fast the cravings fade. How much better your body feels after a week without fast food. You notice that your wallet is not hemorrhaging money on impulse meals. You might even realize that real food, actual food that goes bad if you forget about it, tastes better, fills you up longer, and does not leave you feeling like a grease-soaked regret pile. I had a friend who replaced his weekly McDonald's habit with making his own burgers at home. Nothing fancy, just ground beef, salt, pepper, a pan, and some buns. He said it tasted better, cost less, and for the first time in years, he actually knew what was going into his body. No pink slime, no silly putty chemicals, just food. And sure, it took a little longer, but he said something I will never forget. I do not feel gross afterward anymore. That one sentence might be the best review of home-cooked food I have ever heard. McDonald's wants you to think that cooking is hard, eating healthy is expensive, and convenience is king. But that is a lie wrapped in a paper bag. The truth is, you have options. You always did. They just buried them under clever marketing, artificial flavoring, and the scent of French fries drifting from a vent. So the next time you find yourself in the drive-thru, ask yourself why. Is it really hunger? Or is it habit? Is it really convenience? Or is it conditioning? Are you choosing McDonald's? Or is McDonald's choosing for you? Because once you see it for what it really is, a perfectly oiled machine designed to keep you coming back, you get to decide if you want to keep playing the game, and just like that, you're not a customer anymore. You're in control. And that tastes better than any burger ever could. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Now you're officially more informed than most shoppers. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.